Hello my friends, Dr. Mandell here. If you're over 60, I want you to listen very carefully because what I'm about to share with you could protect your heart, your brain, and even extend your life. Seafood can be one of the healthiest foods on this planet, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, high quality protein, and essential minerals. But the truth is, not all seafood is created equal. Some of it can actually do more harm than good, especially as we age. So today I'm going to reveal the 4 worst seafoods you should never touch and the 4 best ones you should be eating regularly to keep your body strong and your mind sharp after 60. Let's talk about something that most people overlook when it comes to their health after the age of 60. We've been told for years that seafood is one of the healthiest foods on the planet, loaded with protein and those famous omega-3 fatty acids that help the heart, protect the brain, and fight inflammation. And yes, that's true when you're eating the right kind of seafood. But here's the hidden truth that many people don't realize. Not all seafood is healthy. In fact, some of it can be downright dangerous, especially as we get older and our bodies become more sensitive to toxins, chemicals, and heavy metals. Now think about this for a moment. When you go to the market or restaurant and order a piece of fish, you're probably thinking, I'm making a healthy choice. You feel good about it, right? You believe you're nourishing your body, protecting your heart, doing something positive for yourself. But what if I told you that certain seafoods could actually be harming your health silently, day after day, meal after meal? What if that so-called healthy choice was contributing to inflammation in your joints, memory problems in your brain, or even putting you at risk for heart disease and cancer? You see, as we age, our detoxification systems don't work the same as they did when we were younger. Our liver becomes less efficient, our kidneys don't filter quite as well, and our body is less capable of dealing with toxins. That means any harmful chemicals we take in, whether it's mercury from large predatory fish, antibiotics from farm-raised seafood, or pesticides used in imported shrimp, they tend to linger longer in our system, they accumulate, and over time that buildup takes a toll on our health. This is why it's so critical to understand that not all seafood is created equal. On one side of the spectrum, we have clean, wild-caught fish like sardines and wild Alaskan salmon that can truly nourish the body, fight inflammation, and strengthen the heart and brain. On the other side, we have seafoods like farm-raised salmon, swordfish, and imported shrimp that are contaminated with chemicals and toxins. These are the foods that look harmless on your plate but act like poison inside your body. Let me give you an example. Farm-raised salmon. Most people think salmon is one of the healthiest foods in the world, and yes, wild salmon is excellent. But farm-raised salmon is a whole different story. These fish are crammed into crowded pens, fed on natural diets, and treated with antibiotics to keep them from getting sick. On top of that, many are even fed chemical dyes to give them that pink color we associate with salmon. Otherwise, the flesh would look gray and unappetizing. Imagine eating something that has to be artificially colored to look edible. That's not the kind of salmon you want fueling your body. And then there's mercury. Large fish like king mackerel and swordfish are at the very top of the food chain, which means they eat smaller fish that already contain mercury. Over time, the mercury builds up in their flesh, and when we eat them, it builds up in us. Mercury is a neurotoxin. It damages brain cells, contributes to memory loss, increases risk of dementia, and interferes with the nervous system. For someone over 60, when memory and brain function are already more vulnerable, this is the last thing you want to put in your body. So why does this matter more after 60? Because at this stage of life, your body has already weathered decades of environmental exposure, pesticides, pollution, processed foods, and stress. Your toxic load, as we call it, is already higher than it was when you were younger. Adding more fuel to the fire with toxic seafoods only accelerates aging, weakens your immune system, and leaves you vulnerable to disease. But the good news is you can turn it around starting today. By being selective, by knowing what to avoid and what to embrace, you can use seafood as a powerful medicine rather than a hidden poison. It comes down to this: your diet is either healing you or harming you. There's no neutral. Every bite you take is sending a message to your body. Either I want to heal, grow, and thrive, or I'm feeding inflammation, disease, and decline. The choice is in your hands. And when it comes to seafood, the stakes are high because it's one of the most common sources of hidden toxins in the modern diet. My friends, I want you to empower yourself with knowledge. Don't just assume that because something is labeled as fish or seafood, it's automatically healthy. Dig deeper, ask questions. Is it wild caught or farm raised? Is it a small fish lower on the food chain, or is it a large predator loaded with mercury? Where is it sourced from? These details matter more than you might think. When you make wise seafood choices, you're not just feeding your stomach, you're protecting your memory, keeping your arteries clear, strengthening your immune system, and reducing pain and inflammation in your joints. You're giving your body the tools it needs to stay strong, active, and vibrant well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. That's the power of making informed decisions. That's the power of choosing the right foods at the right stage of life. So remember, my friends, not all seafood is healthy. Some of it is medicine, some of it is poison. Learn the difference, protect your body, and never underestimate the healing power of making the right choice at the dinner table. My friends, this is the part that may surprise you. We've been conditioned to think all seafood is good for us, but I'm here to tell you that there are certain seafoods you should never put on your plate, especially if you're over 60. These choices might look fresh, they might taste delicious, they might even be advertised as healthy, but the truth is they can be silently damaging your health day after day, and when you're older, your body simply can't afford to carry that burden anymore. Let me walk you through 4 of the worst offenders, the ones that I want you to stay away from for good. The first one is farm-raised salmon. Now, I know some of you are probably saying, but Dr. Mandell thought salmon was one of the healthiest foods in the world. And yes, wild-caught salmon is one of nature's greatest gifts, but farm-raised salmon, that's a completely different story. Farm-raised salmon are grown in crowded pens, packed tightly together, swimming in their own waste, fed on natural diets of pellets and grains instead of their natural food. Because of these poor living conditions, they're treated with antibiotics to keep them alive. And here's something that most people don't know. The beautiful pink color you see in that salmon fillet, it's not natural. Farm salmon is actually a grayish color, so the industry uses chemical dyes to make it look more appealing. My friends, do you really want to put something in your body that had to be dyed just to look like food? On top of that, farm-raised salmon carries high levels of PCBs, toxic chemicals that can accumulate in your body and disrupt your hormones, your liver, and even increase your risk of cancer. This is not the salmon you want nourishing your cells. The second seafood I want you to avoid is king mackerel. Mackerel can be a healthy choice when it's a smaller Atlantic variety, but king mackerel is loaded with mercury, and mercury is toxic to the nervous system. This heavy metal builds up in the body and is particularly dangerous for seniors because it affects memory, concentration, and overall brain function. Think about this. You've worked your whole life, you've built your memories, you've created your legacy. Why would you want to eat a fish that accelerates memory decline, increases brain fog, and damages the very organ that defines who you are? Mercury also weakens the cardiovascular system, placing more stress on the heart, which is already more vulnerable after 60. If you want sharp thinking, clear memory, and strong heart health, king mackerel should never be on your menu. The third one is imported shrimp. Shrimp is one of the most popular seafoods in the world, but much of it comes from overseas farms where regulations are extremely weak. These farms often use chemicals, pesticides, and even antibiotics that are banned in many countries just to keep their shrimp alive long enough to sell. The shrimp are raised in ponds that are overcrowded and contaminated, then treated with chlorine and other substances to make them appear fresh. The problem is when you eat that shrimp, you're not just eating protein, you're taking in those chemicals, and they don't disappear inside your body. They place a burden on your liver, your kidneys, and your gut. And as you get older, your body doesn't detoxify as efficiently as it once did. That means these chemicals build up, leaving you tired, inflamed, and more vulnerable to illness. Don't be fooled by a pretty shrimp cocktail. Behind that plate could be a whole lot of hidden poison. The last one is swordfish. Swordfish is a predator at the very top of the food chain. That means it eats smaller fish, which already contain mercury and other toxins. Over the years, all of that mercury accumulates in the flesh of the swordfish, and when you eat it, it accumulates in you. Swordfish is known to have some of the highest mercury levels of any seafood. This isn't just about brain fog or memory loss. It can also damage your kidneys, increase your risk for heart arrhythmias, and weaken your immune system. For seniors who may already be managing conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or arthritis, swordfish can make everything worse. You might not notice it after one meal, but the damage comes slowly, silently, and it adds up over time. So my friends, let me ask you this. Is it worth it? Is that farm salmon fillet, that king mackerel steak, that shrimp cocktail, or that swordfish dinner worth sacrificing your health? You've worked too hard, you've come too far, and your body deserves better. These foods might taste good in the moment, but the price you pay in the long run is far too great. I want you to look at your plate as your medicine cabinet. Every bite you take is either building you up or breaking you down. Every seafood choice is either fueling your brain, protecting your heart, and strengthening your immunity, or it's loading you with toxins, weakening your organs, and accelerating aging. You have a choice. No one else can make it for you. And when you know the truth, you can no longer claim ignorance. The good news is you don't have to give up seafood. There are wonderful, safe, and nourishing options that can truly bless your body, and we'll talk about those. But for now, commit to yourself that these 4 seafoods, the farm-raised salmon, the king mackerel, the imported shrimp, and the swordfish, will never again find a place on your plate. By removing them, you're already taking a giant step toward protecting your memory, your energy, and your longevity. My friends, now that we've talked about the seafoods you must avoid, let's shift our focus to the foods that can truly give your body strength, healing, and vitality after 60, because it's not just about cutting out the bad, it's about adding in the good. And when it comes to seafood, there are a few powerful natural choices that can protect your brain, strengthen your heart, and keep you moving with energy and confidence no matter your age. These foods are nature's medicine, and they can make a profound difference in how you feel every single day. The first one is wild-caught Alaskan salmon. This fish is a true superfood, one of the cleanest and most nutrient-dense seafoods on the planet. Unlike its farm-raised cousin, wild Alaskan salmon swims free in clean waters, eating its natural diet and developing a nutrient profile that is unmatched. It's rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which reduce inflammation in your body, protect your arteries, and even improve circulation to your brain. That means clearer thinking, sharper memory, and less risk of cognitive decline. These omega-3s also help lubricate your joints, reducing stiffness and pain, so you can keep moving and living an active life. On top of that, wild salmon is packed with high-quality protein to preserve your muscle mass, something that's critical after 60 to maintain strength, balance, and independence. When you choose salmon, make sure it's wild and preferably from Alaska. That's when you're getting the true medicine, not the toxic substitute. The second seafood that I love for seniors is sardines. Now I know sardines aren't glamorous. Some people turn their nose up at them, but don't underestimate these little fish because they are some of the most nutrient-rich foods you can eat. Sardines are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, and calcium, 3 nutrients that are absolutely vital for strong bones, healthy arteries, and a sharp brain. And here's the beauty of sardines: because they're small and low on the food chain, they have very little mercury. That makes them one of the safest seafoods you can eat regularly. They also contain coenzyme Q10, which supports heart health and cellular energy. For those of you who want to keep walking strong, protect your bones, and maintain energy throughout the day, sardines can be a game changer. They're inexpensive, easy to store, and so powerful for your health. The third seafood I recommend is Atlantic mackerel, but let me be clear, I'm not talking about king mackerel, which is high in mercury and should be avoided. I'm talking about the smaller Atlantic variety. This fish is rich in heart-healthy fats, vitamin B12, and selenium, all of which support circulation, nerve health, and immune function. B12 is especially important as you age because deficiencies are common after 60, and low B12 can lead to fatigue, memory problems, and even nerve damage. Eating Atlantic mackerel can help replenish those levels naturally. On top of that, its omega-3s reduce inflammation in the arteries, lowering your risk of heart disease, stroke, and high blood pressure. It's a clean, safe fish that delivers big benefits without the toxic load. The fourth one is anchovies. Just like sardines, anchovies are small, oily fish that are packed with nutrients and extremely low in mercury. They contain powerful amounts of omega-3 fatty acids, calcium, magnesium, and vitamin K2, nutrients that work together to keep your bones strong, your arteries flexible, and your brain sharp. Anchovies are often overlooked because they're used in sauces or toppings, but when you add them into your diet, you're giving your body some of the most bioavailable nutrients it can get. These little fish may be tiny, but they deliver big protection against heart disease, osteoporosis, and cognitive decline. Remember, it's not always about the size of the fish, it's about the density of the nutrition inside. Anchovies prove that sometimes the smallest foods carry the biggest healing power. Now, why do these four seafoods matter so much after 60? Because they provide the exact nutrients your body is craving at this stage of life. Omega-3 fatty acids to reduce inflammation and protect the brain, protein to maintain muscle mass and strength, calcium and vitamin D to support bone density and prevent fractures, B vitamins to keep your energy up and your nerves healthy, and antioxidants to fight off the damage of free radicals that accelerate aging. When you put these foods into your body, you're not just filling your stomach, you're feeding your cells, protecting your organs, and giving your body the fuel it needs to keep you vibrant and active for years to come. Let me remind you, my friends, your health is not just about avoiding disease. It's about creating wellness. It's about waking up with energy, walking with strength, thinking with clarity, and living with purpose. These seafoods are tools to help you achieve that. They're natural, accessible, and designed by nature to nourish the human body. So the next time you go to the market, don't just think about what looks good on the outside. Think about what's going to keep your body strong on the inside. Reach for the wild Alaskan salmon. Grab those cans of sardines. Look for Atlantic mackerel. And don't forget the anchovies. Your future self will thank you. Every choice you make today is an investment in your tomorrow. And the more you fill your body with these healing foods, the more you'll feel the difference in your energy, in your joints, in your memory, in your overall vitality. I want to talk to you about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention, yet it can silently destroy your health if you don't recognize it. I'm talking about mercury. Now, many people don't think twice about mercury. They don't realize it's even in the food they're eating. But mercury is a heavy metal, and it's one of the most toxic substances that can build up inside the human body. And the truth is, as we age, our ability to handle mercury and other toxins becomes weaker, which makes this an even bigger problem after the age of 60. Mercury comes primarily from seafood, especially large predatory fish like king mackerel, shark, swordfish, and even certain types of tuna. These fish are at the top of the food chain, which means they eat smaller fish that already contain mercury, and over the years that mercury accumulates in their flesh. By the time they're on your dinner plate, they're loaded with it. And here's the problem: when you eat them, that mercury doesn't just pass through your body, it gets absorbed, it travels through your bloodstream, and it settles into your tissues, including your brain. Now, why is mercury such a big risk after 60? Because our bodies are less efficient at detoxifying as we get older. When you're young, your liver and kidneys can process toxins more quickly, but as you age, those systems slow down. That means the mercury you take in from seafood tends to linger longer in your body. It accumulates over time, and that buildup leads to more damage. One of the first areas mercury attacks is your nervous system. Mercury is a neurotoxin. It interferes with the way your brain cells communicate. It disrupts electrical signals in the nervous system, and the result: brain fog, memory problems, difficulty concentrating, and in some cases even an increased risk of dementia. For someone over 60 who may already notice changes in memory or mental clarity, mercury adds fuel to the fire. It accelerates decline. And let me tell you, my friends, your brain is the most important asset you have. Protecting it should be your #1 priority. Mercury also affects the cardiovascular system. Studies show that high mercury exposure is linked to high blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, and increased risk of heart disease. And again, this is something that becomes more dangerous as you age because the heart is already under more stress after 60. Your arteries are less flexible, your circulation isn't as efficient, and adding mercury into the mix can push the body past its limit. That's why avoiding mercury heavy seafood is such a critical step for protecting your heart health. Another area mercury targets is the kidneys. The kidneys are responsible for filtering toxins out of your blood, but mercury is particularly damaging to kidney tissue. Over time, mercury exposure can weaken kidney function, making it harder for your body to remove waste and regulate fluid balance. For older adults whose kidney function naturally declines with age, mercury places even more stress on this vital system. And let's not forget the immune system. Mercury is known to increase oxidative stress and inflammation throughout the body. It weakens your natural defenses and makes it harder for you to fight off infections, recover from illness, or heal from injuries. If you've ever wondered why you're feeling more fatigued, more rundown, or just not bouncing back the way you used to, hidden toxins like mercury could be playing a role. Now here's the part that most people miss. Mercury exposure doesn't usually cause sudden dramatic symptoms. It works slowly, silently in the background. You don't eat a piece of swordfish and suddenly lose your memory. You don't have a shrimp cocktail and instantly develop high blood pressure. It's the repeated exposure, the slow accumulation, the years of eating high mercury seafood that does the damage. And by the time you start noticing the effects, the buildup has already taken a toll. That's why prevention is so important. My friends, you have a choice. You can either ignore this information, keep eating those high mercury fish and hope for the best, or you can take charge, be proactive, and make the decision to protect your body starting today. Because the truth is, there are plenty of safe, low mercury seafood options out there. You don't need swordfish, king mackerel, or shark to enjoy the benefits of seafood. You can choose sardines, anchovies, wild salmon, or Atlantic mackerel and get all the protein, all the omega-3s, solve the heart and brain protection without the toxic load. Think about it this way, your health is your greatest wealth. No amount of taste or temporary pleasure is worth sacrificing your brain, your heart, your kidneys, and your longevity. Every time you sit down to a meal, you're either adding years to your life or taking them away. And when it comes to mercury, the risk is just too great, especially after 60. So I want to challenge you, be more mindful. Pay attention to the types of fish you eat. Ask where they come from. Learn which ones are safe and which ones are not. You don't need to cut seafood out of your life, but you do need to be selective. Because when you make the right choices, seafood becomes one of the most healing foods you can eat. But when you make the wrong choices, it becomes one of the most toxic. Protect your brain, protect your heart, protect your kidneys. Don't let mercury rob you of the vitality and clarity you deserve in your later years. You've worked hard your entire life, and now it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor with energy, strength, and peace of mind. And one of the best ways to do that is by avoiding high mercury seafood and embracing the safer, cleaner options. My friends, I want you to take a moment and think about this truth. Every single thing you put in your body is either helping you or hurting you. There is no neutral. Every bite of food, every sip of drink is sending signals to your body, either creating healing and energy or creating stress and disease. And when it comes to seafood, this principle is magnified. Seafood can be one of the greatest medicines for your heart, your brain, your joints, and your entire body. But at the same time, it can also be one of the most dangerous poisons if you choose the wrong kind. Let's start with the medicine side. The right seafood like wild Alaskan salmon, sardines, anchovies, or Atlantic mackerel is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids. These omega-3s are like oil for your machine. They reduce inflammation, keeping your arteries flexible and your joints smooth. They improve circulation, bringing more oxygen and nutrients to your brain so you can think clearly, remember better, and stay sharp. They protect your heart from dangerous rhythms, high blood pressure, and blockages. They even help your immune system fight off illness more effectively. These are not just small benefits. These are life-changing, life-extending benefits. And let's not forget the protein. As you get older, one of the biggest challenges is maintaining muscle mass. Muscle isn't just about strength. It's about balance, stability, mobility, and independence. Lose too much muscle in simple tasks like climbing stairs, carrying groceries, or getting up from a chair become difficult. The high-quality protein in clean seafood gives your muscles exactly what they need to stay strong. That's medicine, my friends. That's how you preserve your independence and keep living life on your terms. Seafood also provides essential vitamins and minerals like vitamin D, vitamin B12, selenium, iodine, and calcium. These nutrients strengthen your bones, fuel your energy, support thyroid function, and keep your nerves healthy. For seniors, deficiencies in these nutrients are common, and they can lead to fatigue, depression, weak bones, and cognitive decline. Eating the right seafood helps fill those gaps naturally, giving your body the nourishment it craves. That's medicine at its finest, straight from nature. But now let's flip the coin. On the other side of this equation, seafood can act as a slow, silent poison. When you choose the wrong kinds, farm-raised salmon, imported shrimp, king mackerel, swordfish, or other high mercury, chemically treated fish, you're no longer feeding your body medicine. You're feeding it toxins. Those toxins don't just disappear. They settle in your tissues, your brain, your liver, your kidneys. They create inflammation, which is the root of nearly every disease known to mankind. They disrupt hormones, weaken immunity, and damage the nervous system. Over time, this poison erodes your health from the inside out. Farm-raised fish, for example, may look appealing on the plate, but it's loaded with antibiotics, dyes, and chemical residues. That's poison. Large predatory fish may taste delicious, but the mercury they carry can damage your brain and your heart. That's poison. Shrimp raised in contaminated overseas farms might seem harmless in your favorite dish, but the pesticides and chemicals they contain are toxic to your body. That's poison. And here's the scary part. You may not feel the effects immediately. It doesn't hit you in one meal or 1 week. It's the slow buildup, the silent accumulation, the years of exposure that do the damage. That's why I say seafood can be medicine or it can be poison. The difference comes down to your choices. No one else can make them for you. When you stand in front of the seafood counter at the store or open a menu at a restaurant, you're the one deciding whether that next bite is going to heal you or harm you. You're the one choosing whether you're fueling vitality or feeding disease. And after the age of 60, those choices matter more than ever. Your body is not as forgiving as it once was. Mistakes that you could get away with at 30 or 40 will take a much bigger toll at 60, 70, or 80. But here's the empowering part. You have control. You don't have to give up seafood. You don't have to fear it. You just have to be smart. Learn which ones are safe, clean, and nourishing, and learn which ones to avoid. And once you know the difference, you can use seafood as one of the most powerful healing tools in your entire diet. Think about how incredible it is that nature gives us this gift. A small can of sardines can deliver protein, omega-3, vitamin D, calcium, and more. A serving of wild salmon can reduce inflammation and strengthen your arteries. A handful of anchovies can protect your bones and your brain. These aren't exotic medicines or expensive supplements. These are simple foods available to all of us that can literally add years of healthy living to your life. So my friends, I want you to start looking at your plate differently. See it as your pharmacy. Every food is either a prescription for health or a prescription for disease. Every bite is a choice between medicine and poison. And when it comes to seafood, that choice is crystal clear. Avoid the toxic ones that burden your body and embrace the clean, healing ones that fuel your strength. Remember, your health is not just about living longer, it's about living better. It's about waking up with energy, moving with confidence, thinking with clarity, and enjoying every day with the people you love. And that's what the right seafood can help you achieve.